Have you ever had an experience where the divine has interrupted your regularly scheduled program? Well, I had an experience like that recently, and I'd like to tell you about it. But before I go on, if you do have had some of those experiences, um, please leave those stories in the comments. I would love to hear about it. So, anyway, what had happened was I was sitting down with my son, and we have a lot of very interesting conversations. And he's also a very spiritual person. He's a teenager. But anyway, so we were talking, and he asked me kind of like, I considered it a pretty random and out there type of question. But anyway, he asked me, Dad, would you perform for Satanists if they paid you $30 million? And I was like, wow. So I just went ahead and answered the question, and I said, well, I probably would. I said, but of course I would ask the Holy Spirit, I would ask God if I had the green light from Him, if He wanted me to do it. And if He said yes, then I would probably do it. And I said, but the caveat would be as long as I could rap about whatever I wanted to in the lyrics. And I said, I would probably be binding and rebuking demons on stage. So, interestingly, right after I said that, like on cue, out of my pocket, I had my phone in my pocket. I wasn't touching my phone. Spontaneously, we heard a voice coming from the phone, and it said, since when is the presence of an enemy any indication of the absence of God? And my son was like, whoa, and he started kind of freaking out a little bit. And I knew that was God speaking to us. By the way, my phone has a passcode where you have to put numbers in there and unlock it. It has a lock screen, which would have been engaged because my phone was sitting in my pocket for quite a while. I hadn't been on my phone for a while. I put it away so I could talk to him. I don't remember being on YouTube or watching that video prior to us having this conversation. It started with those words. A lot of these, preaching videos, they start with other things. The speaker coming up on stage and speaking and making introductions and announcements and small talk and jokes, but it just went right into that phrase. So I know that that was God speaking to us. So anyway, that message was very pertinent and still is today. We've been, as many of us do, been experiencing some challenges and some attacks, and I've become pretty much throughout my whole life, but I've become more and more aware of the enemy's presence during this season, and so it was a message that I needed to hear. Just because you see the darkness, just because you're aware of the attacks, just because you are experiencing the negative attacks and energy, does not mean that God is not with you. He will never leave you or forsake you. And sometimes in the darkness is when the light shines the brightest. So continue to shine your light, continue to persevere, continue to proclaim His word over your situations, over your circumstances. I know you hear a lot of preachers say this, and it may sound cliche, but it is true. Um, Sometimes when you're getting attacked, it's because you're doing something right. Sometimes you're being attacked because the enemy sees you as a threat, and you're getting closer and closer to what God has called you to do. It's a constant process and a journey for all of us, and the enemy does seek whom he may devour. So keep your eyes on the Lord. Keep your eyes on your purpose and your calling. Keep your eyes on Him and prevail and persevere. We are overcomers. no weapon formed shall prosper, but it didn't say the weapon wouldn't be formed. As an example, shortly after that occurrence, I was involved in a car accident. I was driving right through a green light, and a lady came seemingly out of nowhere to turn, basically, and she didn't see me or she didn't know what was going on. She hit me. I saw her at the last minute, put on my brakes, and she hit the front of my car. I could have been T-boned. I could have been seriously injured. And when we pulled over, even the lady was saying that, or I'm sorry, the man that was with the lady, because she was really shooken up, he was saying it could have been a lot worse. After that, my wife and my son came to pick me up because my car wasn't running. They came to pick me up, and when they picked me up, we stopped by a store because that's what I was going to do anyway. And I was a little shaken up. But I just asked my son, I said, son, do you think that that was an attack of the enemy when I got hit by that car? And he said, yes, Dad, I definitely do think that was an attack of the enemy. Literally, I felt the Holy Spirit when he said that. Not a bad feeling. I felt his peace and his confirmation on those words. But once again, no weapon formed shall prosper. The weapon was formed, but it didn't prosper. It didn't. The enemy intended something much worse to happen than what actually happened. So just because some challenge comes your way doesn't mean that God is not protecting you, doesn't mean that God is not still with you. So the other thing I want to say is that day I was having several confirmations, Holy Spirit confirmations. I was feeling the Holy Spirit throughout that day, and I was actually excited. I had a meeting set up that day, which got canceled because of traffic. So I just really feel like God, I'm trusting God in this whole process, but I'm not even going to go into it. I had so many different occurrences that day where I felt the Holy Spirit throughout the day. So I know that God was with me through that dark time and moment, and where the enemy was trying to attack. But he did not prosper, and God is going to work all things together for the good of those that love him and are called according to his purpose. Once again, please leave a comment, anything that I said that inspired you or a story that you have, and let us encourage one another in this faith and persevere and continue to overcome. All right, y'all be blessed. Please subscribe and hit that notification bell, and let me know if you want to see more videos like this. All right, y'all. Be blessed. Be encouraged. May the God of hope fill you with all joy and peace as you trust in him, so that you may overflow with hope by the power of the Holy Spirit. Salute.